Hey guys, this is an updated therapist task guide for ambulances. Again, for this task, we do have to locate and obtain the ambulance paramedic smartphone on Streets of Tarkov, and then we have to survive and extract through the Streets car, extract with the phone on you, and then hand it over to therapist. So here's a map of Streets with all 8 of the potential paramedic smartphone spawn locations numbered, and there will end up being 1 phone spawn per raid when you do have the task active. So it can end up being in any one of these 8 spawns, and I ended up numbering them on the map so that you guys could even come back to this point in the video in order to pause it to double check locations and also to make sure that you're not missing any. And in an effort to make this guide as straightforward as possible, then I will be going from the north to the south end in order to show you guys each ambulance spawn, and my PMC will be starting at the intersection on Klimov Street. And obviously, as I am showing you guys the potential spawns, the path that I am going is not going to be the best to follow during a real raid. It is just the quickest way for me to show you guys this for a task guide tutorial purpose. So just keep that in mind and then kind of work your way around Streets to the spawn locations in whatever way that you guys find is going to be the safest and most efficient. So my PMC is here in a raid at the Klimov Street intersection. The Pinewood Hotel is going to be just right here, and then across the intersection on the left-hand side will be the Beluga restaurant. And then if we continue to turn to the left, then we will run along the Cardinal Building sidewalk until we do come up to an ambulance just outside the President Restaurant sign. Now this ambulance will be the location of the first potential spawn in this video, and then the smart spawn can spawn in the passenger side footwell in this location, and I will show a picture of what it does look like at each one of these 8 possible spawn locations during this video. So after we finish checking this spawn, then we will turn around and then head across the Klimov Street, going past the Golden World store on our left, and then you do want to go underneath the archway and then take the first alleyway on our left hand side, which is where you will find the second ambulance. And at this ambulance, then the smartphone will be in, again, the passenger side footwell on the running board, but just a little bit more to the left, as you will see with this photo. Now, after we end up checking this potential spawn location, then we will head up towards the Pinewood Hotel and then the grocery store that is located in it. Now, I will just mention as my PMC moves towards the next spawn that while you are moving around the map, you can double tap O in order to check to see if anybody has already taken the car extract during your raid. Because if the text does show up as red, then it means that somebody's already used the car. Or if it does show up as green when you do check it, then it means that somebody's actively trying to use the car. So by doing this, then it can save you some time bothering to go and look and seeing if the car is there. If it already shows as red, then you know that somebody else has already used it. Now, as we do approach the Pinewood Hotel, then the Sparja Express store in it, then you will find an ambulance on the road to the street to the right. And at this location, the smartphone can potentially spawn behind the ambulance next to the covered body on the sidewalk. So after we finish checking here, then I will bring us over to the 4th possible ambulance, and I will be crossing over the intersection by the convoy in order to check the ambulance that's located in front of the Check 15 building. And this will by far be the riskiest ambulance for you guys to check, since there is always a ton of traffic in this area with Caban at Lexos, then the relaxation key room spawn, and also Check 13 marked room just around the corner, and even the Check 15 building by itself having a bunch of tasks that draw players there, as well as just being a general loot hotspot. So just be aware of this being a very risky area, and also be aware of the mines around Lexos, which I do have a video on my channel indicating all the different locations that the mines are around here. So as you do end up going past this hole in the wall to your right, which is one of the entrances to the Check 15 building, then you will see an ambulance just in front of you. And at this location, then the smartphone can spawn on top of the passenger seat. And again, I will have a photo of how it looks if it did spawn here. So after we check here, then the next ambulance will be in the Concordia courtyard beside the basketball court. So I will be going in between the construction site where the collapsed crane PMC extract is and then the large Sparja grocery store. But once you do jump up and go past this truck, then you will see a fenced-in basketball court, and you will want to go to the right-hand side of it where you will end up finding the ambulance. And then the potential spawn for the smartphone will be outside the ambulance on the ground next to the garbage bag on the passenger side, just next to the running board. Now, after we finish searching here, then I will be running to the backside of the Concordia building by running underneath this archway, and then we will be taking a right once I get through the iron fence gate. And then just beyond the end of this building, then you will end up seeing the helicopter, which is actually the crash site PMC extract, and also our 6th ambulance location just behind the downed heli. Now this smartphone will spawn on the pavement next to the passenger side door, and it is actually inside of the extract zone, so if it is there, then you do have to grab it relatively fast before the game ends up pulling you out of raid. That is, if this happens to be one of your extracts during this certain raid. So as you do approach this area and while you are looking for the phone, just make sure to keep that in mind. Now after you have checked here, then we are going to head back along the Concordia building to head towards the 7th ambulance. And basically you want to end up following this building along until we do get to the fork in the road or just past this white bus on our left hand side. Once you do get to here, then you do want to go down the alleyway to our right where you will see an ambulance just past this police car. And where the smartphone does spawn at this particular ambulance is going to be in the back next to the tubes and vials on the floor bed of the truck. And again, I will show a picture of what it does look like when the task is active. Now, once we have finished checking this spawn, then I will bring us to the final ambulance location, which is going to be directly across the road from the Lexos dealership. And it is going to be in front of the pharmacy. Now I am going to be bringing you guys to the final ambulance by using this back alleyway to firstly show you guys that it exists in case you didn't know, and also since it is going to be much safer going this route than directly in front of the Lexos compound, because if Caban and his guards did end up spawning, then you will absolutely be blown up by the grenade launcher guard before you even know what happens, or you may accidentally hit one of the mines that are going to be along the road just in front of Lexos. Another benefit to this is that you will be less likely to run into other PMCs or even player scavs by taking this back alley. Once you end up getting to the end of this alleyway, then you will basically be across the road from the cinema as well as the statue area, so you will want to veer to the left and then go in between the orange car and also the train car in order to get yourself basically in front of the Lexos building, which is where you will find the final ambulance. Now the potential spawn for this smartphone in this ambulance will be in the passenger side footwell, and in my experience this is where the phone has spawned at the most for myself and also for any friends that I have helped to complete this task. Now once you do end up finding the phone, then your goal will be to check to see if the car is there that raid, which will be a 50-50 chance, but if it did, then you will want to try and get out with it as soon as possible, since you won't be able to hand the phone over to therapist until you do extract by using it with the phone on you. So an extra tip is that if you are going to Streets with the intent of trying to complete this task, and if you do get a close spawn to the car location, then I would check ASAP to see if the car is there so that you even know off the rip if you can fully complete the task during that raid or not. And if it is there and you have one or more teammates, then one person can protect the car extract so it's not stolen on you, while yourself or your other teammates also search for the phone. Or if the car isn't there, then you can take any other extract normally. If you happen to find the phone, you just won't be able to give the phone to therapist in order to complete the task. You will have to return to Streets with the phone in your quest inventory in order to try and take the car. But just so that you guys know, you are allowed to extract with a run through, so if you do happen to go back to Streets and then spawn close to the car, then just make a run for it there, take the car immediately, and then you can still pass the phone in and it will count for the task. But if you did happen to find the phone, then the car wasn't there, so you extracted normally, and then if you just happen to not want to go back to Streets, then you can always offload the phone into your inventory quest item stash temporarily until you did want to go back and then attempt taking the taxi again later on. And then whenever you do decide to go back to Streets, then you can just transfer it back into your quest item inventory at that time, so that this way if you do die in another map, then you won't end up losing the phone and then having to start this task all over again. And then the last thing that I will mention is that when this task was initially brought into the game, we did have to extract via the green flare extract, which was available for everybody each raid. However, they ended up breaking or bugging that extract when this task was initially introduced, so then nobody could end up taking it whatsoever. And then that was when they ended up switching it to make sure that you had to take the car extract, which isn't available every raid. So then that adds an entire new level of RNG and annoyance to this task, which also makes it one of the most complained about tasks in the game. But I am strictly mentioning it in case they do end up changing it randomly during a wipe, and then you guys will still have the information to be able to complete this task, and then you won't be waiting on me to update this guide. So hopefully you guys found this guide useful and it does help you to complete this task. Thank you guys for stopping by and watching my video on this, and hopefully you have a fantastic rest of your day.